Discover the incredible, heartwarming secret, Grandma's life-changing Christmas reunion exposed. The small Midwestern town buzzed with the kind of excitement you could almost taste in the frosty air. Christmas lights twinkled from every shop window like stars fallen to earth, but for Sarah, the anticipation was heavy, stinging her heart like a sharp winter breeze. As a single mother navigating the struggles of making ends meet, the holidays had always outshone the ordinary days, yet this year felt darker. Grandma Betty, once the beacon of hope in their family, lay ill in a nearby nursing home, casting a cloud over what could have been a joyful reunion. In her modest living room, Sarah watched her two young kids, Emily and Jake, with their cheeks rosy from the cold and smiles wide as they gushed about baking cookies and decorating their little tree. Each giggle was a reminder of Christmases past, filled with hugs, warmth, and Grandma Betty's infectious laughter. The memories pierced Sarah's chest. How could she bring her children joy when her heart ached with the absence of family warmth? "Mom, can we bake gingerbread men this year?" Emily chirped, her eyes sparkling like the lights draped around the room. "Absolutely." Sarah's voice quivered, a tightness forming in her throat. Just then, a flyer slipped under the door, flapping against the floor like a captured bird. It advertised a community charity event to support Grandma Betty's nursing home, and Sarah's heart raced. A flicker of hope ignited within her. Could this be the moment to bridge the chasm? But the fear of rejection clawed at her. What if Betty didn't want to see her? What if she had moved on? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With trepidation, Sarah dressed her children in their warmest coats, their laughter stealing her breath as they stepped into the chilly night. The community hall was alive. Laughter floated in the air, mingling with the scent of holiday spices and baked goods. The colorful decorations dazzled, but Sarah felt like an outsider, suffocated by nostalgic memories of a once joyful Christmas. As she navigated through the crowd, she spotted Grandma Betty. Time had etched lines into her face, but her eyes still sparkled with the familiarity of love. Sarah's heart raced. Would they embrace, or would the years of silence create walls too high to climb? Slowly, they moved toward each other like two ships in the mist. Laughter filled the hall, but Sarah felt the weight of unspoken words hang around them. Just as their arms met in an awkward hug, a silence fell, a tension filled with all the memories of heartache, sacrifice, and lost time. Suddenly, a voice broke through, the truth of sacrifice spilling out, turning the evening on its head. "Sarah, there's something you need to know." The room held its breath, eyes darting between the two women, the laughter fading into whispers. Could love and forgiveness triumph over the past? This Christmas would either weave them back together or pull them apart forever. "Sarah, there's something you need to know." Grandma Betty's voice trembled, filled with emotion. The crowd around them faded into a blur, as if they were wrapped in a cocoon of memories and longing. All Sarah could hear was the soft thud of her heart pounding against her chest. "What is it, Grandma?" she whispered, her voice barely catching the air, uncertainty mixing with the warmth of hope. Betty hesitated, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "There are things from the past. Things I've held on to that you should understand." Sarah could sense the gravity in Betty's words, an unseen weight pushing against her chest. She stepped back slightly, her hand brushing against her children's tiny fingers. Emily and Jake looked up at them, their innocent curiosity a reminder of the family they had fought to build despite life struggles. "I've always been proud of you, Sarah. I just didn't know how to let you know." Tears spilled from Betty's eyes, glistening like the Christmas lights overhead. The room seemed to draw together, each person anchored against the unfolding revelation. "I don't understand," Sarah faltered, her mind racing through the years of missed calls and fractured conversations. "Why didn't you reach out?" "I was afraid," Betty began, her voice quivering with each word. Afraid you'd be disappointed in me. There were things about your father, things I didn't want you to bear. But as the years passed, I realized, it wasn't just about me. It was about us. U.S. The word echoed in Sarah's mind, opening a door to a forgotten space shared between them. The laughter and the tears. The love they could have rekindled. The crowd buzzed, murmurs bouncing off the walls, their eyes shifted. Friends, neighbors, the town, all waiting. Just as Betty opened her mouth to speak again, the overwhelming aroma of freshly baked cookies wafted through the air, drawing their attention. "Let us do this together," Sarah proposed, her voice a steady anchor, despite the turmoil surging within her. "What if we bake together, just like we used to?" Betty's eyes widened with surprise. "Bake? Yeah. Emily and Jake can help us." Sarah smiled, a warmth spreading through her heart, pushing the fear aside. The laughter of her children filled her with unexpected courage. Betty nodded slowly, a smile breaking through the veil of sorrow on her face. I love that they stepped away from the noise of the gathering, the community hall transforming into a cozy sanctuary where the smell of gingerbread would soon mingle with the scent of healing. As Sarah gathered ingredients, she glanced at Grandma Betty, who was already rolling up her sleeves. "What do we do first?" "Let us start with the dough," Betty replied, a newfound spark igniting in her voice. With each cup of flour and spoonful of spice, stories began to unfold. Memories of Christmases spent laughing in the kitchen, of secrets exchanged over warm mugs, and tales of resilience passed down through generations. Sarah found herself pouring out her struggles, her fears, even the weight of being a single mother. Grandma listened, her eyes softening as she shared her own tales of unexpected challenges, but amid the warmth of this shared moment, Sarah's mind continued to race. What was it that Grandma wanted to tell her? And why did it feel like time was slipping through their fingers? Would the revelation change everything? As they shaped the dough into cheerful gingerbread men, the questions hung in the air, unspoken yet pressing. Christmas was meant for joy, but as Sarah glanced at Betty, she realized it was also a time for truth. What if the truth would shatter everything they had built? What if it could set them free? Just then, a hush fell over the room. Laughter dulled, and from the doorway stepped a figure, cloaked in shadows but unmistakable. A gasp rippled through the crowd, and all eyes turned. "Dad?" Sarah whispered, her heart racing. Could this be the moment her past crashed into her present? Would it shatter the fragile bond they were recreating? The room stood suspended, waiting for answers, and so was Sarah. What would unfold next? All eyes were glued to the doorway, where the tall figure stood, the shadows of the hall swallowing him in uncertainty. Sarah's heart raced like a wild horse, taking flight and crashing back down. Memories pinned her in place of laughter, fights, and broken promises. As her breath hitched, she reached for the counter, needing something solid to anchor herself. "Dad?" She barely breathed again, hoping the words would somehow unravel the mystery in front of her. The crowd's murmurs replaced her heartbeat, drowning out the memories that suddenly flooded back. His face illuminated by the twinkling lights, her father looked older, but undeniably familiar. Lines creased his forehead, evidence of time wrestling with him. He met her gaze, his own swimming in a cocktail of emotions: regret, longing, even hope. "Sarah," he finally said, his voice a heavy whisper. "Why now?" The words escaped her, sharp and quick. "You disappeared. You left us." Anger coiled in her chest, mixing with the warmth of the gingerbread dough still resting in her small hands. From her side, Grandma Betty gasped, feet frozen to the floor, torn between the bittersweet reunion unfolding and the hurt that lay before them. "Jeff, I didn't think." "Betty, let me explain." He stepped forward, eyes hopeful yet wary, as if afraid to approach a minefield. "I've waited for too long to face you both. How can we trust you?" Sarah stepped away, distancing herself from the intoxicating blend of nostalgia and sorrow. "After all these years, I know," he murmured, looking down, ashamed. "But I came back because I've realized what I lost when I left, what I threw away." He swallowed hard, the weight of his words catching in his throat. "I want to reconnect, to make things right. I want to be part of your lives again. For a moment, the world stilled. Sarah looked at her children, then back at her father. There was so much at stake. Chaos brewed in her mind. Should she reach for the dream of a complete family, or keep them safe by shutting the past away? In the silence, the kitchen filled with the sound of cookie sheets clattering, laughter echoing from the hall. Friends and relatives waited, eyes wide with anticipation. They were all watching, making this moment feel larger than life. Just as she opened her mouth to respond, a loud thud reverberated from the oven, pulling everyone's attention back into the room. "Watch out!" Emily squealed, pointing at the oven. The gingerbread men they had been crafting began to slide precariously towards the edge of the baking sheet. Jake giggled, breaking the tension. "Ooh, they're going to fall." The magnetic pull of family tugged at Sarah's heart. The laughter of her children mixed with the unexpected reality of her father's presence, weaving a fragile tapestry of possibility. She felt the bittersweet pinprick of hope. Could this moment bring healing, or would it only lead to new wounds? Let us take one step at a time, she concluded, surprising herself with her own resolve. But I need honesty this time from everyone. No more secrets. Betty nodded, wiping away tears while smiling through the storm. Jeff looked at his daughter, full of pride, yet exposed in vulnerability. Just then, the timer chimed loudly, cutting through the tension like a knife. The cookies were ready. The only thing left unsaid lingered in the air, heavy with promise and dread. Amid the delicious aroma, Sarah thought of the stories yet to be told. The path ahead was unclear, filled with the potential for healing or heartbreak. "All right then," she said, eyeing the oven. "Let us see if this family can bake together." With that, a shared laugh erupted, breaking the tension momentarily, but with every chuckle came the reminder that the real challenges loomed just out of reach. As they pulled the cookies from the oven, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. What else lay hidden in the past, waiting to unravel? Would this Christmas truly bring a reunion, or merely a prelude to deeper revelations? Their next step was just around the corner. What truths would they face together? The warmth from the oven enveloped the room, drawing everyone closer, a comforting contrast to the uncertainty still buzzing in the air. The cookies, gingerbread men adorned with bright frosting, looked almost festive. Each child reached for a treat, laughing as they tried to guess which shapes resembled what, momentarily distracting them from the adult conversations swirling around them. "Just one, kids," Sarah said, feigning sternness mingled with laughter. They eagerly filled their little hands, energy soaring around the kitchen. As the laughter lightened the atmosphere, Sarah felt a cautious shift in her heart. Maybe it wasn't all bad. Maybe there could be new memories forged. Her gaze slipped back to her father, who stood there, unsure of what to do. Jeff fidgeted, his fingers brushing nervously against the countertops, like a man caught between feeling welcomed and being shut out. "Can I help?" he asked hesitantly, approaching the workstation. "Maybe decorating or Dad, that's enough." "You can't just stroll back in and expect everything to be fine," Sarah replied, her tone firm. "We have a lot to sort through." Betty stepped in then, her voice a soothing balm. "Why don't you just ask your father some questions, dear? You can't move forward until you understand where it all went wrong." The invitation lingered in the air, heavy with implications. Sarah's heart thudded louder. Question after question formed in her mind, but none of them seemed adequate enough to capture the gravity of his departure. "Why did you leave? Was it us? Did we do something wrong?" She felt the heat rise along with her emotions. "What happened? I thought leaving would make things easier for everyone." "It was selfish, I see that now." "I was overwhelmed," Jeff replied, his voice steeped in regret. "I didn't think it through. I hurt you, and I wish I could take it back." The room quieted as the implications of his admission washed over them. Betty glanced at her granddaughter, the lines of her face softening with empathy. She touched Sarah's arm lightly, grounding her. "Sarah, honey, people can change," Betty whispered, as if only the two of them were having a private conversation. "Sometimes, forgiveness is the hardest step, but it can also be the most freeing." Jake, cookie in hand, suddenly presented his frosting masterpiece, a happy little gingerbread man that looked more like a teddy bear. "Look, Mom. It's a Christmas friend." His innocence cut through the tension, a sweet reminder of love in its purest form. "Wonderful job, buddy." Sarah smiled, a real smile breaking through. In that moment, she felt the edges of her heart soften, just a little. But the thoughts of her father's words still twisted in her mind. Was it really so easy to forgive? As her family assembled around the table, frosting-covered fingers and gentle laughter filled the gaps left by pain. The cookies transformed into chaotic, funny creations, and they bonded more closely with each shared smile. "See? This can work," Jeff said, his tone brightening as he watched his children connect through giggles and sprinkles. "If we can bake together, we can do anything." But just as the air felt lighter, a shadow passed over Sarah's heart. An unshakable question loomed at the back of her mind. Was she ready to embrace whatever lay ahead? Can we really just forget? She whispered, more to herself than anyone else, as she observed her father, feeling that familiar ache of uncertainty clawed gently inside her. Suddenly, Emily added her own voice, "Dad, will you promise to stay this time?" Silence fell again, weighty with what was left unsaid. Jeff's eyes clouded over, a promise hanging between them like unwrapped gifts still waiting to be addressed. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. Could they build a bridge strong enough to span the years? As hope wove in and out around them, she couldn't shake the nagging feeling that there were still more truths buried beneath the surface. Would they have the courage to dig deeper? And just then, the doorbell rang, startling everyone. What now? Who else could be showing up to this tangled reunion? The moment felt electric, and a newfound tension snaked its way back into the room. What surprises awaited them at the door, and could they handle whatever news would come next? The doorbell rang again, piercing the gentle hum of laughter and conversation. Everyone turned, a mix of curiosity and trepidation swirling in the kitchen. Sarah felt her heart race, dread creeping in like a shadow. Who could it be, bringing more uncertainty into this flicker of hope? "I'll get it," Betty said, moving toward the door with a glimmer of reassurance in her eyes. As she opened it, a blast of cold air swept in, mingling with the sweetness of gingerbread. "Surprise!" A familiar voice cried out. Sarah's heart leapt as she turned to see her cousin, Lily, stepping inside, snowflakes glistening on her shoulders. The moment felt surreal, like a scene from a holiday movie. Lily beamed, her cheeks flushed, the spirit of Christmas radiating from her. "Lily! You made it!" Sarah shouted, a genuine smile blooming on her face. She rushed over, pulling her cousin into a tight hug. The tension in the room eased slightly as the children rushed to greet their cousin, squealing in delight. "What's happening? Are you baking cookies? I want to help." Lily squealed, her enthusiasm pulling everyone into her orbit. "Sure. Just one, though," Sarah replied with a chuckle. She glanced at Jeff, who stood back, taking in the joy Lily brought. For a moment, it felt like old times, simpler and lighter, before the shadows began creeping in, but then Sarah's thoughts darkened again as she recalled the words shared just moments ago with her dad. She walked back to where Jeff lingered. "Why didn't you tell me Lily was coming?" she asked. Unintentional urgency mixed with her desire to reconnect. Jeff looked taken aback. "I wanted you to be surprised. I thought it would make this reunion a bit easier." He swallowed hard, his gaze drifting toward the kids as they adorned Lily with sprinkles and frosting. Sarah studied him, her heart balancing on a fine line of hope and skepticism. "And you think surprises are the key to fixing everything?" Just then, Lily's cheerful voice carried through the air. "Can we make gingerbread houses next? Please. It'll be so much fun. I'll grab the supplies," Jake declared, dashing for the pantry, arms swinging wide. All right," Sarah said, her heart softening again, momentarily distracted by the laughter over the impending gingerbread construction. "Let us first finish decorating these cookies." As the kids squealed and reached for more frosting, Sarah took a deep breath. She turned back toward Jeff, who was still observing with a distant look. "Dad, Sarah," Jeff interrupted, his tone growing serious. "Can we talk in private for a second? There's something I want to say." She hesitated, torn between the warmth radiating from the kitchen and the chill of the conversation looming ahead. But she knew it was necessary. Sure. Jeff led her toward the hallway, the laughter receding behind them. The moment felt heavy but also necessary. Once they stood in a quiet space, he seemed to gather himself. "I owe you more than just this explanation," he said, the sincerity in his voice begging her to listen. "I know I broke promises before, but I'm here now, and I want to mend what I can." Sarah crossed her arms, heart thudding. "It's not that easy, Dad. You think a few cookies and some words can fix years of hurt?" He stepped closer, desperation in his eyes mingling with remorse. "No, I know it's not easy. I want to try. I'm willing to put in the work." As he spoke, a flicker of doubt danced in her mind. Could they truly work through this? Could she trust him again? Just then, the kids' laughter echoed down the hall, pulling Sarah out of her thoughts. Those moments felt precious, fragile amidst the truths yet to be revealed. Suddenly, Betty's voice rose from the kitchen. "Lily, do you remember that time we built a gingerbread mansion? You were so tiny then." Sarah's heart tugged. The warmth of those memories mixed with the cold reality of today. She turned back to Jeff, their eyes locking. "Can we build something new?" he asked softly, vulnerability leaking into his words. Just as she opened her mouth to respond, a loud crash resonated from the kitchen, followed by giggles and gasps. "What was that?" Sarah exclaimed, her heart racing again. Fear and excitement danced as they rushed back toward the chaos. What had happened now? Would this derail their fragile moment, or could it bring them closer together? The answers felt just out of reach, waiting for them to discover once more. As they rushed back into the kitchen, the sight before them was nothing short of pandemonium. A tower of cookie dough and frosting lay scattered across the table, while little hands swirled with colorful icing wielded like paintbrushes gone wild. Jake stood in the center of it all, eyes wide and mouth agape, as if he couldn't believe the chaos he had caused. "What happened?" Sarah asked, her voice a mix of amusement and shock. The laughter of the children echoed off the walls, bouncing back with a wild, uncontained energy. "They were trying to make a giant cookie," Lily declared, giggling uncontrollably as she pointed to the flour-dusted table. "But it sort of just fell." The sight of the kids covered in flour, their faces smeared with frosting, made Sarah's heart swell. For a brief moment, she felt the shadows of doubt lift, replaced by warmth and laughter that seemed to hug the air. Jeff joined her side, struggling to hide a grin. "You know," he said, his voice softer now, "I think they're definitely onto something. Maybe a giant cookie is just what we need to kickstart this reunion." Sarah chuckled, rolling her eyes. "Only if we can salvage this first. Let us see what we can do." She moved toward the haphazard display, and the kids instantly gathered around her, eager to help clean up their mess. The atmosphere felt lighter, the tension from earlier momentarily set aside, as they all pitched in, with Betty delightedly narrating tales of her own childhood baking experiments gone awry. Sarah glanced at Jeff. He seemed content, lost in the flurry of activity. Yet, the conversation still lay heavy between them. It was like a fog, it was still there, thick and unyielding. As frosting flew around the room, Sarah leaned closer to Jeff, her voice low. "Are you really serious about mending things? I won't pretend it's going to be easy. You have to really mean it." He nodded, the sincerity returning to his eyes. "I do, Sarah. I understand it's been years. But every moment we spend like this, it counts. I want to be part of your life again. Not just in these few hours, but for good." A wave of emotion washed over her. The laughter of children filled the air, but all she could think about was if she could believe him this time. Then, as if the world conspired to distract them, the kids cheered again. "Look! We made a pancake cookie. It's gigantic." They brought forth a comically large cookie, a mishmash of everything they managed to bake and decorate. It was oddly beautiful in its chaotic glory. You know what? Sarah breathed, glancing at the culinary abomination. It's perfect in its own way. Just then, Lily tugged at her sleeve. Can we do a cookie contest next? Like in the movies? The prospect made Sarah smile. It might not be the life-changing moment they had both yearned for, but it felt genuine, real. Absolutely. Sarah said, excitement bubbling up again. Let us plan a contest for everyone. But first, Jeff interrupted, his expression earnest. I want to make a promise. No more secrets. No more running. If we're building something new, it means being completely open this time. Sarah's heart raced at his words, an unfamiliar hope clawing at her. What if this was the shift they needed? What if the fragile moment before them was indeed the beginning of a new chapter? Just then, another crash echoed through the kitchen, causing everyone to freeze. Betty turned wide-eyed as the peppermint candy bowl tipped over, sending bright red and green sweets scattering across the floor. Oh no! She exclaimed, laughter spilling over the silliness of it all. Maybe it was in these unplanned moments, these little disasters, that they would find their way back to each other. As they all scrambled to clean up, Sarah felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. What could this holiday lead to? What else might reveal itself in the joyful chaos of their home? But just as the laughter enveloped her one more time, an unexpected knock reverberated through the door again, louder and more urgent than before. Who could it be this time? With her heart pounding, Sarah exchanged a look with Jeff. Could this new arrival change everything? The knock grew louder, sending a ripple of confusion through the room. Children paused mid-laugh, their frosting-smeared fingers frozen in place as they turned to look at the door, eyes wide with curiosity. Should I get it? Jake asked, taking a few tentative steps toward the sound. His adventurous spirit was met with a wave of uncertainty from the adults. Sarah glanced at Jeff. His brow furrowed as he held her gaze, both of them weighing the possibilities. It was a holiday gathering, filled with laughter and memories, but could this unexpected visitor bring a storm that would disrupt their fragile peace? Let us see who it is. Jeff broke the silence, stepping forward as he found his footing. Sarah admired his resolve, the way he wanted to show he was all in with this family moment. With a steadying breath, Sarah followed Jeff to the door, her heart thumping nervously. She grasped the doorknob, feeling the cool metal against her palm, and slowly pulled it open. Standing on the doorstep was a tall figure cloaked in a thick winter coat. The hood was drawn tight, shadowing the stranger's face. It took a moment for recognition to wash over her. Mom? Sarah gasped, the word escaping her lips on a breath so soft it barely filled the space between them. The woman looked up, her eyes glistening beneath the hood. Surprise, she said, her voice trembling slightly. I hope I'm not too late. Overwhelmed, Sarah stood frozen. Here was her mother, who hadn't attended any family gatherings in years, a rift that had scarred their relationship, each holiday weighed down with unspoken words. And Mom, you're here? The kids jostled around, excitement bubbling once more at the sight of a new face. I thought I'd come back for Christmas, she said, her voice softened with both an apology and hope. I wanted to see you all again to talk. I've missed you. The tension in the kitchen shifted. Jeff stepped back a bit, allowing Sarah to absorb the weight of this moment. Would this reunion be the closure they both sought? Or would it dig up years of unresolved pain? Sarah's heart raced. She wanted to grab hold of the hope that her mother brought back, yet doubt crowded her thoughts. What changed? She asked, feeling both vulnerable and inquisitive. Time, her mother replied, eyes glistening. Time and regret. I don't expect you to forgive me easily, but I'm here now. For you, all of you. The children started to giggle again, intrigued by the unfolding drama. Lily whispered to Jake, do you think she's a magical cookie fairy? But their laughter faded when they saw the seriousness in Sarah's eyes. I don't know. Sarah stumbled over her words, her heart heavy like it was still in the past. I have so many questions. I'd like to answer them, her mother said softly, stepping closer. If you give me the chance. Sarah blinked, trying to take in the moment her mother back, the kitchen chaos, and the possibility of healing. A part of her wanted to run into her mother's arms, but another part hesitated, still guarded from years of hurt. Meanwhile, Jeff watched, a supportive presence by her side. You don't have to decide everything right now, he reassured her quietly, sensing the storm brewing within. As Sarah felt the walls inside her unravel just a bit, another giggle erupted from the children. Yet, the air thickened with expectation. This moment, laden with possibilities, felt like it wouldn't just change the course of their day but perhaps even the trajectory of their lives. Just then, as Sarah opened her mouth to respond, another sharp knock echoed through the house. It was insistent and impatient. Everyone turned to the door, hearts racing once more. Who else could be showing up? The door creaked wider, and a face emerged from the shadows. What awaited them now? The door swung open, revealing a frail figure, bundled in layers of colorful shawls. It took Sarah a moment to recognize her grandmother, a pioneer of stories and warmth, her silver hair catching the light like a beacon. "Grandma!" Lily squealed, rushing forward with arms outstretched. The kitchen, which moments before had been filled with uncertainty, erupted into joy as the children surrounded their grandmother. "Look at you all." Grandma chuckled heartily, her voice a soft melody that wrapped around them. "I could smell the cookies from down the street. It's been too long." Jeff smiled as he watched the scene unfold, but Sarah's heart was heavy again. Here, beneath the swirling laughter and sweetness of the moment, lay the potential for more complexity. Her mother's presence had already stirred up old wounds. Could Grandma's arrival deepen the reunion or tear it apart once more? "Mom?" Grandma turned to face Sarah's mother, her eyes narrowing slightly. "Is that really you?" Her mother shifted, the alacrity of joy dimming slightly. "Surprise again, Mom," she said sheepishly, taking a step forward, hoping for acceptance. "After all these years?" The disappointment in Grandma's voice curled around the room like smoke. "You don't just get to waltz back in on a whim." Sarah felt the tension mount. Questions rushed through her mind. How long had her grandmother known about her mother's return? Had she been waiting for this moment, too? "Please, let us not make this harder than it needs to be," Sarah interjected, her eyes darting between the two women. "We should focus on the kids, on family." Lily tugged at Grandma's shawl, her young face lit with confusion. "Are we a family now? Grandma, can you help us make cookies?" Grandma knelt down, her face transforming as her fingers brushed against Lily's cheek. "Of course, sweetheart. But first, we need to hear your mother." "We all do. This moment is for everyone." Sarah's breath caught in her throat as tears threatened to spill. The circle was so small yet so vast in its implications. Her mother needed Grandma's forgiveness, but what if Grandma couldn't deliver that? "I'm here to understand," her mother spoke, trying to bridge the gap. "I want to share my side." At that moment, the laughter fizzled, replaced by biting silence. The air felt thick with unprocessed emotions, each swirling in waves of hope and fear. Sarah whispered to Jeff, "What if this pushes us further apart?" "I think this is a chance," he replied, his hand finding hers. "If we're willing to be honest, even if it's painful, it might bring healing." "Mom?" Sarah pleaded, turning her gaze back to the two women. "Can you both give this a shot? For the kids? For us?" As their eyes met, Sarah noticed a flicker of something, perhaps understanding or recognition of the stakes at hand. It was a moment that could transform everything if only the shadows of the past would allow them. Just then, the children squealed in delight, their laughter returning as they began pulling ingredients from the counter. "Grandma! Mom! Let us get started." But before they could, another loud knock shattered the moment again. This time, it seemed urgent, demanding. "What now?" Jeff muttered, glancing to Sarah. "Should we let whoever it is in?" Sarah asked, her heart racing not just with fear, but with an unfamiliar spark of hope. The door stood between anticipation and unknown challenges. As they hesitated, another knock echoed louder this time. What new chapter awaited them outside? The door creaked open slowly, its hinges protesting quietly against the stillness in the house. The moment felt charged, the air thick with expectation. Sarah's heart raced as she caught sight of a familiar face, fraught with uncertainty. Paul? Grandma's voice broke the tension, her brows furrowing with a mix of surprise and confusion. Paul, her estranged brother, stood there rugged and worn, yet undeniably familiar. He had always been the free spirit of the family, off chasing dreams while the rest of them anchored themselves to routines. The children had barely noticed the awkwardness pervading the air, too busy with flower clouds and bubbling chatter. But Sarah felt it keenly, the ripple of ancient fractures being exposed and laid bare. I didn't know you were back in town, Grandma said, her tone more curious than welcoming. Paul took a tentative step inside, the laughter behind him fading into an uncertain hush. Yeah, it's been a while. Figured I'd stop by and see how everyone is doing. I heard he hesitated, glancing over Sarah's shoulder at her mother. I heard you were having a family gathering. Sarah's mother stiffened at the mention, her past intertwining with Paul's in ways unspeakably complicated. We're just trying to get everyone together for the holidays, Sarah said, forcing a smile through the tightness in her throat. As she looked between her mother and Paul, she sensed the looming storm just below the surface. Seems like that's harder than it should be, Paul remarked, his eyes darting down, betraying the weight of years lost. Let us not turn this into something it doesn't have to be, Sarah interjected gently, an ache in her chest. We're just making cookies and trying to have a good time. Cookies? Paul perked up, a small smile breaking through the tension. I could go for some of those. Great. Lily chimed in, obliviously enthusiastic. We just started. Come help. As if on cue, Grandma moved forward, her warmth radiating toward Paul as she gestured him to join them. Come on, then. If you remember how to turn the oven on, that is, she teased, lightening the atmosphere a fraction. Yet Sarah sensed the walls that still remained barriers crafted over years of hurt, missed birthdays, and whispered grievances. She hoped this fragile moment could hold together, but doubt gnawed at her insides. Each smile felt precarious, teetering on the edge of deeper emotions waiting to spill. Maybe we could start fresh, Sarah suggested, hoping to douse the tension. We have a lot to catch up on, all of us. Fresh. Right. Paul nodded, but his eyes didn't quite match his words. As laughter hesitantly returned, Sarah glanced at Jeff. He seemed rooted yet supportive, sensing her worry without her saying a word. She felt his hand brush against hers again, and it soothed her a reminder that amid the chaos, a small pocket of calm existed. Lily, pushing an enormous bowl of dough forward, shouted, "Let us decorate. This is so much fun." The chaos of the kids, now fully engaged in their baking adventure, wrapped around them like a warm blanket on a cold night. Just as Sarah thought they might reclaim the spirit of the gathering, another knock reverberated through the house, jamming her heart in her throat once more. Who else could that be? She wondered aloud, biting her lip. With every uncertain face turned toward the door, a shared breath lingered in the air. What surprise awaited them? Who else might emerge to tilt the fragile balance of this chaotic family reunion? The door swung wide open, revealing yet another figure standing outside, drenched in the glow of the holiday lights. This time, a younger woman stood there, wrapped in a long coat, an eager expression brightening her face. Joanne, Sarah's old friend from childhood, came rushing in, her laughter spilling out like sunshine breaking through after a storm. Wow! It smells incredible in here, she exclaimed, taking a moment to take it all in. The sight of scattered flour, colorful frosting, and the chaotic joy of children brought back nostalgia, anchoring Sarah in the warmth of simpler times. Joanne! You made it! Sarah rushed over to embrace her, flipping back into a moment that felt light, bright, and full of promise. The energy in the room shifted yet again, enveloping them all. Joanne turned to the children and marveled, "What are you baking?" "Cookies." Emily shouted brightly, covered in frosting like a festive masterpiece come to life. And we're going to make houses too. Count me in. Joanne declared, diving right into the mess, her laughter infectious as she tried to gingerly manage the dough. Across the room, Sarah caught Jeff's eye, his brows raised in amusement. A hint of relief washed over her. Just maybe, they could absorb all this chaos and cook up something beautiful together, despite the shadows lurking in corners, awaiting their moment to emerge. Amidst the joyous chaos, Sarah felt that the threads of connection weaving together a tapestry of love, laughter, and renewal, even if jagged edges remained. She thought of her mother, her grandmother, and Paul. The past loomed large, but so did the present, the giggles of children and the sweet aroma of baking cookies. Okay, everyone. Cookie contest time. Sarah announced, shifting gears to capture the mood. Let us see who can decorate the best cookie. Each child gets to team up with an adult. Me. Me. Jake shouted, hopping up and down. Lily turned to Paul. You're my partner. Let us make the coolest cookie ever. As the children scrambled into their teams, Sarah felt her chest warm with hope. Maybe they were turning a corner. Family reunions didn't have to be perfect, perhaps they just needed to be real. With the scent of gingerbread wafting through the air and children's laughter echoing all around, Grandma sat at the table, stirring the rhythm of their chaotic creation, echoing memories of her youth before the wounds of time threatened to break the bond. She smiled at her family, their varying ages all gathered near the kitchen table, creating a patchwork of forgiveness, healing, and connection amid the mutterings of a simmering pot of love. Just as everything settled and cookies began to take shape, Sarah felt the weight of the past right beside her. Leaning against the counter, she took a deep breath and turned to her mother. You've got so many stories to share. Can you tell us why it's so hard for you to come back? Her mom glanced toward Grandma and Paul, the weight of silence hanging over them once more. I haven't been consistent in showing up. It's something I regret deeply. I want to share my side of the story and I hope you can hear me out. Sarah nodded, determination settling inside her. And I need you to understand why it hurt all those years when you weren't there. Tension writhed slightly as the adults in the room processed the heavy exchange. Just as everyone felt submerged in the moment, the kids started giggling with flour-covered faces juxtaposed against their cookie masterpieces, breaking the heaviness like a sudden gust of wind shifting a storm cloud. Look at ours. Emily squealed, holding up a lopsided cookie, adorned with a rainbow of colors. The sight coaxed laughter from the adults again, lightening the load of emotion that had threatened to smother them, but confidence grew within Sarah. This was a family, flawed but authentic. They had survived the years apart. And they could learn to bake a new future together, layer by layer. All right, everyone. Judges. Sarah declared, her smile broadening as the kids' excitement filled the space. Let us see which cookie wins the title for best cookie, and maybe we can also crown best family reunion moment. Just then, the door swung open once more, but this time it was Henry, the old town mayor, stepping in, shaking snowflakes off his coat. Did someone say cookies? Merry Christmas, everyone. The room erupted, laughter bubbling over, a vibrant explosion of sound that filled every crevice. Bleak memories faded into the background noise. Let me tell you about my cookie contest. Henry launched right in, laughter bubbling through his voice. With every shared story, every cookie decorated, it became clear. Family was not just about shared moments, but also the kindness to forgive, the strength to accept the past, and the courage to bridge the distance. As the festive gathering continued, Sarah realized she was no longer just a woman healing from past wounds, but a mother building a future, embracing every moment of joy with her children, her family, and even her past. That cozy chaos, with flour in the air and laughter washing over them, something clicked. No, this was far from perfect, yet in its imperfections lay a clarity. Together was the mantra ringing in her mind. And as the children cheered, calling for more cookies, the family drew closer, hands intertwining in love and unity. The darkness may still lurk around the edges, but now, warmth and light filled the spaces between each imperfect story. In the heart of the small town that felt so big, they were starting to believe they could stitch together the broken past and create a new tradition, one filled with love, cookies, and endless possibilities. This was just the beginning. Now, everyone in the kitchen applauded as they pieced together laughter with flour, acceptance with sugar, and hope with sprinkles. This was family. And in that moment, the truth dawned upon them all. Sometimes, the careful recipe for reconciliation was simply baked together, that day, unfurling like a fresh sheet of dough, waiting for the warmth of family to rise. As they prepared to take their first bite into this new chapter of love, laughter, and cookies, a singular thought echoed through Sarah's heart. Together, they could face anything that came their way. So what about you? If you feel the warmth of this story, don't wait not even one more second to support us. You need to subscribe now to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that could warm your heart even further. Leave a like right away to feed the algorithm, and truly help us reach more beautiful souls like you. And comment below your feelings, what you think about this family's journey, and what transformations you believe are possible for your own circle. Let us keep building this amazing community together. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation. Make sure they don't miss out on their chance for healing either. Together, we can create lasting change and warmth.